Thanks, Rob. You know, those are not the Santa Ana winds that they were just talking about with the fires out west. Santa Ana winds would be offshore. We're looking at onshore wind, and there's actually a low pressure system off in the Pacific Ocean that would contribute to a little bit more of a moisture increase for the midweek period. That's going to help us shuffle our weather pattern. We have warming and we have drying conditions somewhat. This high pressure system is going to be on the move in the next 36 hours, and placement of it is going to do some minor changes to the forecast, but we're still going to be very hot and very warm and quite dry. So those fires out west will at least another couple of days before they could see some improvements. Now, for us locally, we have dark clouds, so this has helped the afternoon temperatures. That's great, especially if you're outside working. You get those clouds covering up, you lose the heat of the day. It becomes quite comfortable and tolerable all of a sudden. We do have a flash flood watch until 9 p.m. tonight. I mention this because this is the Grizzly Creek burn scar. If this gets upgraded to a warning, then there'd be a safety closure initiated by the CDOT. But the flood warning would come from the National Weather Service. And you know, we should probably consider extending this later tonight because we're going to have storms. The anticipation in my book is that we'll have storms going between 11 and 2 a.m. and this is going to move right through that area. Of course, we could see this flood watch again tomorrow afternoon with more storms, even though we have a pattern that's starting to decrease storm coverage, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. As far as rain totals go, almost 1/4 of an inch today for Rifle. Being that it's August 1st, Grand Junction finished the month of July with almost 1 entire inch of rainfall. That's pretty good. Montrose, we ended up with 1/2 inch of rain for the month of July. We still have deficits in many locations, but we also still have this rain pattern that's going to continue. In fact, getting through the evening hours, we have storms cruising off the Uncompahgre, some isolated cells also popping, but this is going to move through for the evening hours, and we'll keep this chance of showers and thunderstorms going. Some of these storms will kick out some 30, 35-mile-per-hour wind gusts. A lot of them have lightning. That's another hazard. Some of them have brief heavy downpours, which can lower your visibility, especially if you're traveling. So here we are, time-stamped 8 o'clock, and you would think, okay, sunset right around 8:20, and we would lose storm coverage, but no, we still have this pattern in place for the monsoon flow, and right around the midnight hour, we do have a significant little cell that should be moving through, though some of the models that I've been looking at have expanded this a little bit wider to encompass more of Mesa County and more of Delta County. So again, this puts us at the midnight hour with an opportunity to keep storms going. Of course, that would delay any storms firing tomorrow afternoon, but tomorrow afternoon we're starting to see just a discrete line of storms north of I-70, and that creates some problems for the Glenwood Springs area, and these will happen as early as midday and then again during the mid and late afternoon, evening hours. So likely we'll see another flood watch, and likely we could even see a warning and a subsequent closure along the interstate. But Tuesday and Wednesday, we should have fewer storms locally for the Tri-County area. Now, any of the mountains, mesas, and plateaus certainly will kick some storms off, but our pattern is still driving in a nice southerly flow of that monsoon tap coming from the Gulf of Mexico. Current placement of the high pressure system a little bit further to the west over the Four Corners region, but tomorrow afternoon this starts to shift a little to the east in response to that low pressure system I briefly mentioned at the beginning of this weathercast. That low is going to advance in along the west coast by the midweek, again creating some opportunity for great firefighting opportunities, at least to mitigate some of that. But that low movement also pushes our high away. So while we still keep storms in the forecast Tuesday and Wednesday, our midweek period is going with warmer temperatures as a result of the placement of this high. Now, we could be a lot hotter if this was directly overhead, but as it turns out, this is continuing to move to the east, so we're going to get on the western periphery of this. Again, we don't eliminate storms entirely. We'll still keep them going, but we're going to go warmer for the midweek with fewer storms, and then we'll flip that back. Later this week, we'll go more storms and less hot temperatures. Low 70s right now for Montrose, upper 80s right now, Delta, Grand Junction. High temperatures for the day, we should be 89, we should be 95. We just haven't hit those numbers. We're going to for the midweek period. We're going to get quite hot. We won't set records, but we're going to boost back up to where we should be and then some. Now, top wind gusts yesterday were along the 30-mile-per-hour zone. That's with some storms. We still could double our current top wind gusts with storm coverage. But again, this is going to be after the sun goes down if these storms hold together. Hotter for the midweek, fewer storms for the midweek, but not eliminating them. And then late this week, we'll lower those temperatures and we'll get more coverage for storms beginning as early as Thursday night for some of the mountain zones, but certainly becoming more widespread for the Friday, for this upcoming weekend, and even into the start of next week. So we're back. We're going to begin August with more rain showers, but before we hit that, we're going to really begin August with some hotter temperatures, and it's going to feel a little muggy in the next couple of days.